Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa Women in Leadership, in Political Leadership series. Thank you for bearing with us. We have a really good conversation, discussion, interview for you today. And my name is Angela Asante-Armar, as hopefully you can see on the screen. And I'm really excited because today we are to be joined by the renowned speaker, educator, diplomat, former ambassador of the African Union to the U.S.A, among many other things, Dr. Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Quao, MD. So before we get to move on with that conversation, I want to say a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for taking the time out to join us today. Well, me for now. And whether you're doing it live or on the replay, thank you. I would encourage you to just drop a comment to let me know where you are joining from today. Where in the world are you joining from today? And if you're live or if you are watching on replay. So, women in political leadership. What has that got to do with Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa? I hear you say, I hear you ask. Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa is not a political organization. It is a non-governmental organization, a benevolent, not profit. And it has a big mission. And one of its aims and objectives is actually to empower women, specifically African women, by helping to empower and unite them by guiding, supporting, encouraging them to seek and take up political leadership in their respective countries, so that they can actually have a voice for those that don't, and have a general, like a holistic, positive impact on their countries. And as we know, I think there are some countries that are doing better than others, but in most countries, women are woefully underrepresented in the political arena. And so the purpose of this series is really to just get into that conversation as to why that is, what are the reasons that there aren't more women in politics. For those who are there, what is that experience like? Why should more women enter political leadership, as I believe we should? And yeah, to really just bring it down to basics, because the audience is a very mixed audience where you're from, majority women, but you would be surprised that to hear some of the things that we think, or our perceptions of how things are, or what we think they are, and how they really are. And so over the course of July and also August, there's more people lined up to be coming to talk to you all. We will be looking at those things. And, please do engage. Feel free to ask questions. I will try and have our guests, answer as many of the questions that you post, or that you drop in the comments. So please do comment, even if they're not necessarily questions, because from my own experience, it's amazing what seeing one comment can make you think. This platform is very much for that. And if you ever see or hear me, I will always seek to challenge your thinking, because that is one thing I think is important for all of us, especially living in these very strange times where we're not quite sure, what we're told. Is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? Is it a conspiracy? So I think the most important thing each and every one of us can do is challenge our thinking. It doesn't necessarily mean that we will always change our view, but if we don't question, we will just assume that the way that everything is as it's supposed to be. And that is not how it is supposed to be. So yes, that is one of the aims and objectives of the organization, amongst many others that seek to empower mothers, aka women and girls. And so as we go through this, I thank each and every one of you. I see your comments coming through. Thank you for joining the show. I myself am a mother of 2 boys, so if you hear or see any of them come and jump in on the live, don't be alarmed. They're probably just coming to say hi, because already I think they like fame. So I understand that Ambassador Arikana will be joining us shortly, just as I said. And if, like I said, please do say where you are joining from, and also what would you like to get out of this series. Today is the first. We'll be having one of these discussions every Wednesday. Today's at 6 o'clock. Next week will be at 7:30. Throughout July and August, so just do watch out for the updates and what have you. Please excuse me. Wants to be in the show but not actually in the show, so bear with me one moment, people. Motherhood does not have any convenient times. So welcome, joining from Ghana, joining from Zambia. Welcome. Please rolling. We are waiting for Ambassador Arikana to join us. So like I said, do let me know what it is that you are seeking to learn from today. From my own experience and what I've heard from other people, women will say, and actually not even just women, actually the men will just be very blatant, like, oh, politics is a dirty, filthy game, it's very rough, maybe not the place for a woman. And women too, both those in politics and outside politics, from what I have learned from having spoken to some, to a certain extent, they would agree with that. So I'm very interested in sharing those views of those people in the arena, and hearing what you think, because, as much as that's how it may be presented, considering that politics governs, well, it dictates the quality of our lives. Yes, we as individuals, we have personal choices that we can make, but that's like within the confines, within the structure of how our countries are operating. So if we don't take more of an interest of what it is that is happening, the decisions that are being made that affect our lives, then, we can't basically just pass the buck to the leaders. It is important to have good, strong leadership. And I'm sure you do all have your own views on what the leadership is like in your own countries. And what I say is that there'll be some of you sitting there, and this was me, sitting there thinking, I really don't like politics. I would never get involved in politics. It's just it's too deceptive, lots of fraud, and it's not the person that you want to be. But I say that it's usually the people who least want to do something, who least want to lead. That's exactly who you want to lead, because they have a kind of objectivity that I think you don't find anywhere else. Hello, Desiree from Johannesburg. Lovely to see you. I said we're waiting for Ambassador Arikana to join us. So I'm just having a conversation with you whilst we wait. But I mean, let me know, what are your views about politics generally, and particularly women who are in politics? I mean, some people say, I've heard myself, that, the women who are in politics, I name no names, these are things that I've heard, don't necessarily behave like women. What do you think about that? I have heard that, and from my own perspective, I'm currently in the UK. You know, we've had two female prime ministers now, and yes, some will say they've been very strong. Um, yeah, they're strong in what they're doing, and you know, kind of no holds barred, very gung ho. But I would say, in some respects, what they have displayed are very masculine traits, but which makes perfect sense because they are surrounded by the majority of men. And so when talk about women in political leadership, it is important that we have more women who take up positions. But we need more of a caucus. We need more representation because one woman here, there, it's a start. It very much is a start. But as you see with anything, it's not necessarily gender based. As you see with anything, if somebody has, if you like, a revolutionary idea or, you know, really good ideals, but they don't have a very good entourage, it's I was going to say I defy. It's very easy to understand how they can just slip into becoming the people that they actually did not want to become like. You know, you really need good allies and good entourage. So this is something that we will talk about. We will talk about more as the series progresses. So before Ambassador Arikana joins us, obviously she has. I'm looking forward to speaking to her, and she'll have a lot to tell us about her career and views on where we are at the moment. Because being a mother herself of her own biological children, and I'm sure kind of adopted many children on the way, the heights that she has got to, I personally am interested in finding out, I mean, the kind of challenges and obstacles that go with that. Because yes, you can be very educated, you know, be very fortunate in that respect, but it does not mean that there are no challenges, you know, especially as women. There's certain things that don't discriminate based on our pockets. We menstruate once a month, usually, regardless of what our socioeconomic background is. So something like that. And so, without further ado, I'm really thrilled to be welcoming onto the platform Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Quao, as I mentioned. And please give her a warm virtual welcome as she joins us. And I affectionately call her Mama. And welcome, welcome, Mama. Thank you for coming to the platform and joining us for this series.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I was finishing a conference call that was a little bit longer than I thought. My apologies.
Oh, you're absolutely, that's not a problem. I was speaking to the audience and just before you were coming, and just explaining a little bit about the foundation, Power to Our Mothers Foundation Afrika. It's not a political organization, but one of our aims and objectives are to encourage, guide, support women to take more political leadership as a way of empowering women and the actual, you know, the communities and the nature in general. So the purpose of us having these discussions in these series over July and August is really to give people, but mainly our mothers, the women, some kind of insight into politics and why, you know, we feel that there need to be more women represented in politics. So we have a varied audience on this platform from very different places. So Mama, would you mind just giving a brief introduction about yourself and maybe a bit about your career background to the audience?
My name is Arikana Chihombori. I was born in a village in Zimbabwe called Chivu. I left Zimbabwe to come to the U.S. On scholarship to attend college. I hold a first degree in organic chemistry, no, rather in general chemistry, and a master's in organic chemistry. And after that, I went on to medical school. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a family physician. I was in private practice for 25 years in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, before I was called out of the blues to come to Washington. and represent my continent as the African Union Permanent Representative to the United States. I was there for 3 years. And of course, I was a bit too vocal for them, I suppose. But I did what I felt I needed to do. I went to Washington with a pretty clean slate. I really wasn't sure what I was going to accomplish as a medical doctor going to Washington, D.C., medical doctor turned diplomat. To my surprise, actually, I found that my experience as a medical doctor actually helped me a lot as a diplomat, because you don't realize it, but as a medical doctor, you're actually playing diplomacy with patients. Why? Quite often, especially as women, when we come to the doctor, we don't always tell the doctor the truth. You would think a patient going to a doctor would want to tell the doctor the truth, but quite often, especially women, you come in with a headache. 9 times out of 10, the headache is not organic. It's the husband at home, is the children at home, all kinds of issues that this woman is carrying on her shoulders. And she presents as a headache. So it's really up to you, the doctor, to figure out whether this belly pain, this headache, is really something organic, or is it something else going on at home? But women don't want to air their dirty linen, so to speak. But it's up to us to extrapolate without going home, but find ourselves being home and help them understand the journey that your headache actually is. And I'm going to stay with the husband, because the majority of our headaches as women are going to be coming from the men in our lives, husband, son, or boyfriend. So be it as it may, that used to be my joke. So you have to find a way of letting the woman understand that there's more to your headache than just a tumor in your brain. Of course, most of the time there is no tumor. It's just that a lot of stress, because we are carrying too much of a heavy load. So learning how to go around people, how to read the body language, how to read the phonation of how even the words are said, the eye movement, all that is part of the assessment that we go through as we are trying to talk to our patients and try to hold their hands and begin to understand what's going on in their lives and how best to tell them, to help them. Sometimes you can't tell them the truth, because if you tell them the truth right up front, they're not going to come back. So you walk with them towards the truth until you get to a point that you can then tell them the truth. But by that time, they would have gone through the phases of acceptance, and then also when they're ready to take the truth, then you give them the truth. Because if you give them the truth at the wrong time, they'll just consider you a horrible doctor, and then they won't come back. So I found that ability to read people, to engage people. So quite often, when I would be in the reception before a meeting, I just started, my doctor in me started. I'm joking with people, I'm cutting up with them, but at the same time, I'm already psychoanalyzing them, figuring out who is the strong one, what are the weak points, and I just did it automatically. So being a medical doctor actually did help me a lot in my interactions, and I was able to cut through the chase. And then, of course, as doctors, we go to the solution. We don't beat about the bushes, and we don't have time to waste when something is pretty clear. This is the problem. Why am I going from point A to point Z when the problem is on point B? Go to point B, deal with it, and move on to the next problem. So I had no patience for foolishness. I had no patience for stupidity. I had no patience for people who chose to make us Africans agree that we're stupid. They would say dumb and stupid things, and we're supposed to just be quiet. We would be blatantly abused, and we're supposed to be quiet. Well, I didn't have patience for that. So I went straight on to the beef. And but also my analysis was also that we Africans, we the African diaspora, we did not understand our Africa. And then especially when I found out that almost 100% of the time that I would address the African diaspora and the Americans in general, none of them had even heard about the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. Now that really hit me the wrong way. To think that for almost 60 years, France has been taking billions, hundreds of billions of dollars out of Africa, and people did not know. Now that was painful. So I understood why the leaders were no longer talking about it, because the history was very clear. Many leaders who tried to talk about it and pull out of the pact, they were assassinated or imprisoned. But I just told myself, I was sent to Washington to represent 1.27 billion people on the continent and about 250 million in the Americas. If I shut up, that's how many people were going to be voiceless. And that's not something that I was willing to take. Either I gave up the position and went back to being a medical doctor, or if I was going to stay in Washington, I was going to represent the people I was sent to represent. I realized that our failure to understand as African diaspora what was really going on in our Africa was a serious issue that was keeping us from making the right decisions in order for us to take our Africa to a rightful place on the world stage. So I set out to educate, to inform, and to speak our truth. And I wanted to start with France, because I felt France, when it's all said and done, France is Africa's biggest risk to peace and security to this day. And everybody knows that. Just to qualify that comment before I stop, when you look at all the conflict countries in the world, 40% of them are in Africa. When you look at those 40%, it's 19 countries. Of the 19 countries, 17 are the former French colonies. That's where most of the conflict is coming from in Africa. So it doesn't take a genius to realize that if France would stop its strategy of destruction and abuse and exploitation of its former colonies, 17 of the African countries that are in conflict right now, those issues will be taken care of. So France must know that the game is up. We understand what France is doing. Yes, they have ratified a law now that's stopping the African countries from depositing their bank reserves with France. That was just done about 3 weeks ago. And I think that was a response to the outcry. Once our people began to know what was going on, they went onto social media. The youth were talking. The social media was ablaze with anti-French sentiments. And they need to know that we are good people as Africans. We understand that this world belongs to all of us, and we're supposed to share it. We simply want them to come to us with respect and treat us fairly and justly, and just do the right thing. So when it's all said and done, we need to speak up as Africans. We need to understand that we're being exploited. The exploiters, they know they're exploiting us. All we need to do is stand up and look them in the face, just like you would do a bully. Stop bullying me. The game is up. The children of Africa are not going to take it anymore. So I'm on a mission to make sure that we stand up and we speak up and we defend our turf. Africa can no longer continue to be abused. Africa and her children at home and abroad can no longer continue to be abused. The time is now, and we are rising.
Okay, I didn't know whether you needed to get. Thank you so much. That's really good to hear about the continuing progress that's coming out. I guess on the back of, maybe not only just, but because of, on the back of everything that's happening in the States with George Floyd and the what can I say, racial uprising over there. And I do understand that this concept of speaking up, I sometimes wonder if it's different for us in the diaspora than it is for us on the, or those on the continent of Africa. Because sometimes I've heard people will say that, perhaps there's this kind of feeling of passivity, as in not people not speaking up as much on the continent as in the diaspora. Do you have a view on that, Mama?
Absolutely. And also that's another issue that I've really taken some serious time to really deliberate, to say, how did we manage to be uniformly put to sleep and thrown on the stupidity lane, I call it? How do we no longer need to tell our children that you are inferior? Somehow they just know it. And how have we managed to make Black people automatically feel inferior compared to white people from one generation to the other? No Black mother sits their child down and say, you are inferior to white people. And I can't help but looking at my own life, my own upbringing, and growing up in my village of Zimbabwe, and realizing that before the British came to Zimbabwe, we had our own gods who we worshipped. Our gods had no color. We had our spirit mediums who were intermediaries to God, because we knew we could not communicate directly to the higher power. They had no color. And then the British came, they sent their missionaries first to teach us about Jesus Christ, about the angels and the devils. They told us the angels were white and that Jesus Christ was white. And then they turn around and say even they themselves are also white, even though their skin color does not look like the white sheet of paper in front of you. They turned around and told us about the devil, and they said the devil was black. And then they turned around and the devil did all these horrible things. The angels did all the wonderful things. They were beautiful. Everybody wanted to grow up to be an angel. And then they said the devil is mean, ugly, hateful. Nobody wants to be a devil. But then they turn around and say the devil is black, and you people are also black. Even when I look at myself in Southern Africa, nobody I knew ever looked black. But they said, don't worry about that, but you're black. So you represent the devil. We never questioned that. If you look at it from that raw point of view, when the white men came to Africa, they used the missionaries to criminalize who we are. They told us we were black and we represented the devil, and that they were white, they represented the angels. Neither one of us is black, neither one of us is white. Jesus Christ was not white. Jesus Christ, according to the Bible, he had crimson skin. When Mary and Joseph were told to run away from Herod, they were told to go to Egypt, not Europe. Why Egypt? Because they knew in Egypt he would blend with people who look like him. Jesus Christ was a brown man. Everybody knows that. Even the Bible says so. But we are lied to and are just told he is white. Because why? They don't want to link us with a brown person who doesn't look like them. Because everything beautiful and desirable must look like them. So we go to church as black people, we kneel and worship images that do not look like us. We worship angels that don't exist. We worship Jesus Christ, who's actually a brown person, not a white person, who has seen the devil, if I may ask, who has seen the angels, if I may ask. Who knows what color the angels are, except it's a figment of somebody else's imagination. It was all a plan to criminalize black people. My village growing up, being a devil or being an angel was based on deeds. What that police officer did by kneeling on George's neck until he was dead, that is the behavior of a devil. Being a devil is based on deeds. Being an angel is based on deeds. So let's be clear. We have been lied to as black people. At what point are we going to get up and say enough is enough? We refuse to continue to be lied to. There is no such thing as white angels. There is no such thing as a black devil. We do, however, have devilish behavior out of black people and white people. We have angelic behavior out of black people and white people. Being beautiful is based on deeds. I remember growing up in my village. If I went to school and I respected my teachers and I brought back good grades, and I came home to my village and I respected my elders, I did my chores, I did as I was told. I checked every box of beauty. I knew I was beautiful. I didn't need anybody to keep telling me that I'm beautiful because my deeds were beautiful. Equally, you knew when you were an ugly child. You didn't respect your teachers in school. You did not bring good grades. You didn't study. You disrespected your elders in the village. You didn't do your chores. You checked every box for being ugly. So let's be clear here. We have been lied to. And as mothers, we must stand up and say enough is enough. We will no longer continue to address our children at a very deep level and make them feel automatically inferior because you are black and you represent the devil. Far from the truth, and we know better. So we must stand up and let us be the generation that's going to break the curse. Being black is beautiful. Being ugly is based on deeds. Being a devil is based on deeds, and it has nothing to do with the skin color. We mothers, the first teachers, the first educators, let's break the curse and tell our children that what we have been told, it started with the missionaries who had nothing good at heart for us. They came to Africa to destroy us. They came to Africa to demoralize us. They came to Africa to create an Africa that can be completely defeated and dominated by playing the mind game with us. It's been far too long over 600 years when the white men first came to Africa, 600 years of being brainwashed. That game is up, and we mothers, we have a responsibility to tell and teach our children the truth and nothing but the truth. There is no such thing as a black devil. There is no such thing as a white angel. It is a figment of the white man's imagination, and it is their attempt to criminalize our blackness. Far from it. We are the most humble people, the most beautiful people, the only race that has never exploited anybody, the only race that has never abused any other race. So talk to me. When you look at the behaviors of the black race versus the behaviors and all the carnage that the white race has caused around the world, if we really want to speak truth to power, who has behaved, which race has behaved in the devilish manner and which race has behaved in an angelic manner, I will let you be the judge.
Wow. I don't know. Well, like you heard it, Mama said she will let you be the judge. And I think what I get really strongly from what you are saying is that, you know, we really must challenge. And it's funny because before you came on, Mama, I was saying that one of the essence of this platform is to get people to challenge their thinking. Because we hear so much, we are told so much, we're not necessarily sure of the sources, you know, how we verify. So if nothing else, everything we are told, we must challenge, we must check, because otherwise we just are spoon-fed, and then we think this is the way things are, when as it's turning out to be, things are very different to what we are told, depending on who is telling us that thing, like you were saying. So
but
as
you know, my daughter,
yes,
at what point? We are some of the most educated people.
yes.
You don't need a degree
to
know that there is no such thing as a black devil. You don't need a degree to know that there's no such thing as a white angel. Who has seen the angel and who has seen the devil? No, answer me that question, my dear daughter.
It's true.
So do we need a degree for that?
Absolutely not.
And why have we just passed it on to our children like it's fact? Because the white men said it. We are so stuck on stupid. The white men said it, therefore it must be true. We have no one to blame but ourselves. We are continuing to be stupid and believing in these lies. Don't let me use bad language here. We are believing in these lies. You know it's not true. All those pastors in churches all over Africa, why are they lying to the people? Why are they preaching about the white angels and the black devils? Why are they putting up images of Jesus Christ looking as white as can be, when we know very well, you can read the Bible. It says it all. Jesus Christ was not white. Jesus Christ was not white. So why is Christianity doing this? Why are we perpetuating a lie? And why haven't we black people challenged it? It is all by design to keep black people down. That has to end. It has to end. We believe in the higher power. Yes, we believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. But don't lie to us. Jesus Christ, this is not what he wanted. That is not the teachings of Jesus Christ. That's not what they talk about. Discrimination and hate. That's not what Jesus Christ stood for. So why are you trying to change Jesus Christ to let him be something that he is not? Stop lying to us. We have been lied to for far too long. And we as black people, we have no one to blame. In this day and age, we should know better. We should know better. And if we do not know better, we have no one to blame but ourselves.
Absolutely, Ma. So what you're saying there, which I agree with 100%, is, okay, so even given that we have been lied to for however long we've been lied to, there must come a point where we say, okay, so it's our responsibility to do something, particularly us, the mothers, because as you said, we're the first educators, the first teachers. And so before a child can even say school or education or enter into any kind of educational establishment, they've been learning from us. So from that perspective, it's like, do we really need to, if you like, worry about anything else? Should we not just focus on ourselves and how we can speak up or help others speak up so that we are really the masters of our own fate?
We don't even need to ask anybody for permission. Here's another thing that saddens me. Other races are already doing it. Living here in the United States, look at the Chinese diaspora. They stick together like super glue. Black men try opening a business in Chinatown. Mission impossible. The Chinese don't even want to live in a black neighborhood. They want to live in their own neighborhood. You go to Little Italy, you won't find anybody outside an Italian. They won't let you. They want to live among themselves. Now, recently, I hear the Indians from India, like in Dallas, they have their own neighborhoods. They want to live alone. They're happy to be living alone. We're the only ones, as Black people, who want to belong to everybody else but ourselves. So there, again, goes back to the strategy that was put in place by the slavers and by the colonizers to make us feel inferior to them. And so because we don't like ourselves, it goes back to, again, you grow up worshiping white angels that don't exist and a white Jesus who is not white. So you are aspiring to be something you'll never be. So as a Black child, you want to be like an angel. A white child is told you represent the angel, you are perfect, you are desirable, everybody wants to be like you. So Black kids grow up wanting to be like the white kid, but you can never be white. So what do? You spend the rest of your life denying who you are, trying to be something that you can never be. So what do? You do things that make you feel like you're closer to them. So you want to live in their neighborhood. You once you have a house and a car and a job, you think you have arrived, you're more like them. It's all these subliminal messages that we must understand. They're working on us. We're too busy trying to be something that we can never be, because Christianity says the white people are being white is closer to being an angel, is closer to being beautiful. What you represent is undesirable. How far from the truth can that be? When are we going to say that is a lie? And I will just conclude by saying, tell me who has seen the white angels. Tell me who has seen the Black devil. Let's stop right there. Those are lies. So we have no one to blame but ourselves. We know the truth. Being a devil or being an angel is based on deeds. Concentrate on being a righteous human being. If you want to be beautiful, if you want to be an angel, live a righteous life. That's my advice to you.
Thank you, Mama. And so just shortly, I guess to try and wrap up, what would you say, because obviously we're talking about leadership, specifically political leadership. I guess to what extent do you feel that has a role to play in us claiming out, no longer making excuses and actually, running our nations in the way that actually benefits us and not the colonizers? And for our fellow mothers, our fellow women who feel that, politics is dirty, is dangerous, nothing to do with us, leave it to the men. Any special message or words you would say to them?
Well, first of all, you have to understand, and I'm going to use you as an example for the purposes of conversation. If you, my daughter, whether you're a man or woman, you end up being a leader of a country, and if your heart is not in the right place, if you still believe the white man is superior, you're not good for Africa. Because you're going to go to the negotiating table as a president, as a minister, as a permanent secretary, as a president of a big company. If your mind is colonized, if your mind is suffering from the legacy of slavery, you're going to buckle up the minute you are sat in front of a white man because you're afraid of him automatically. So you're not good for us. Sadly, we have a lot of that. We have too many Africans who are afraid of white people. And so those are people that are ending up going into boardrooms and making decisions about Africa because they themselves need healing. So until they understand that their thinking is in the wrong place, that they must first and foremost fight and defend Africa. When you are given a position to represent a country, you need to fight for that country. You need to fight for that continent. And so the problem still lies down to our minds. Until we can realize that we're just as good as anybody else, that we should be free and comfortable to stand up and call them out when they try to exploit us. I mean, you tell me why they have not argued to the bitter end to stop our cocoa from building the city of Cadbury, from building the city of Hershey, from having our cocoa beans for decades. And prior to independence, cocoa beans out of West Africa, 65% of the cocoa beans out of Africa are going to Europe. It takes people coming together. The African countries in West Africa should have long come together and said, no more shall we send cocoa beans only to buy hot chocolate and chocolates out of Europe. We're buying the chocolates after they've value added, created jobs for themselves in Europe when we need jobs in Africa. It takes all of them coming together. Ghana alone cannot do it. they'll be defeated. Cote d'Ivoire alone cannot do it. They'll be defeated. But all the West African countries can come together. What has kept us from coming together and speaking with one voice, and also saying, we don't really need you to manufacture the chocolate, because all of Africa could eat chocolate. We have our market right there. But somehow we are made to believe that, oh, well, if you start manufacturing your own chocolates, only Europeans eat chocolate. What kind of nonsense is that? How often do you fly from Europe and you see Africans carrying bags and bags of chocolate boxes out of Europe? It's stupid. We have enough 1.27 billion people to consume our own chocolate. So before we start sending chocolate products out, we must supply the Africans. The problem is that unity that was needed for this to succeed is not there. What has kept us from uniting is the mind. Is the mind. You go to East Africa, same thing with our coffee and coffee and tea. We make some of the best coffees. The weather, East African weather, is some of the best weather for tea and coffee. Our farmers are being given pennies to the dollar. The coffee and tea are taken to Europe. Next thing you know, we are buying Swiss coffee, Swiss chocolate. Our coffee and tea are relabeled as if they're coming from Switzerland. Since when did Switzerland start growing tea and coffee? Let's be serious. Those are things we need to talk about. Flowers out of East Africa. They're going to Europe. Before you know it, they're relabeled. They're from Belgium. By the time they come to the Americas, Belgian flowers. Really? Let's challenge them. Show us where you're growing this kind of flowers. These flowers can only grow in East Africa. How do they suddenly grow in Belgium where they're not coming from? So these are all dumb things that are being done, and we Black people, we never challenge them. We just kind of let it go because it's the white men doing it. It has to stop. It starts with people in the boardrooms, in these meetings, standing up and saying no and defending our Africa. So until our minds change, until we understand that we have a responsibility when you are in a leadership role to defend not only your country, but your continent, Africa is going nowhere. So my daughter, it starts with the mind. Until our minds are in the right place, and we understand, and we have the strength and the energy and the courage, when we understand something is more important than fear. Fear of what? Look at the millions of children starving to death every day in Africa. Look at the millions of the unemployed youth in Africa today. Look at the women who are dying while giving birth to another child. Isn't that more important than fear? Fear of what? Fear of what? Something else is more important than fear. And that is what we need.
Okay, I think you've answered my question. The last thing I was going to say was, okay, Mama, what would you say to, you've just said about the fear. So what would you say to us, the mothers, if we accept the charge, because it's only us that that can do it, is my true belief. It's only us that really can do it. What would you say to those of us who you've just talked about fear, to really encourage us to say, no, we have to step up somehow, whether we step up to take up political leadership or somehow, what else can we do for those who are maybe struggling, they're struggling to feed their family on a day-to-day basis? Is there something they can do if they're not in a position to step up and speak out?
Well, it's very tough when you take a woman who is trying to raise a household of 10 people with minimal means. I think that is where we come in as to whom much is given, much is expected. We know there's a lot of suffering in Africa. You look at, for example, the situation with COVID. COVID poses a serious challenge for a woman like that, who is raising a household of 10. She has to go and work every day just to make enough food for that day. This is where we step in. When we come in, so as I've established an entity called African Diaspora Development Institute. We are going to be opening offices in Africa. And as we enter each Africa, we're going to bring in, we're hoping we raise 100,000, and we're going to challenge the president to also match what we bring in. So we can give at least annually $200,000 to the women, 200,000 to the youth. It's a very small amount, but it's a starting point. But we will continue to give these no-interest loans to get these women to empower them. If it's a woman who wants to sew, I know what an African woman can do with $500. She can buy a sewing machine. She can buy the first fabric she needs to get started starting a sewing business. I know what $500 can do to a young man he can buy a table, a chair, and an umbrella, as well as the first SIM card. Before you know it, he started his business selling SIM cards. I know what $250 can do to a woman with half an acre of land. She can buy the right seeds, and before you know it, she has a small garden, and she can supply vegetables to the local store. African women and youth, they're so creative. They're so ingenious. They can do wonders with very little. I'm making this point to say, to whom much is given, much is expected. We must all make a commitment to say, let's help those who are less fortunate. The government needs to step up. We need proper programs to also facilitate these women so they can continue to do what they can. It is a difficult situation for Africa. Those women who need empowerment, we have a responsibility. What we're trying to do as ADDI is to say, for every woman who gets these no-interest loans from us, she will be partnered with another woman in the diaspora. Our only requirement is that once a month, you call this woman up, talk to her, find out if she has any challenges, and commit to giving her $100 or more, a minimum of $100 a year, if she needs it. If she doesn't need it, that's fine. But that $100 for some women is going to make the difference between the business succeeding or failing. People in the developed world fail to understand how much such little money could make a difference. I have seen it myself. I know what a difference small amounts of money can do. I have a girlfriend of mine who was a seamstress working out of her bedroom with two other young women. And she would come to the US 3-4 times a year, dragging bags of clothes. She had clients. She was able to, when AGOA came to Ghana, she was able to get a loan, and for $10,000, her husband facilitated that. And now to this day, this woman is now sending two 40-foot containers of polo shirts to the United States a week. She's employing over 1,500 employees. Now with COVID, she has stopped making polo shirts. She's now making supplies for personal protective equipment for COVID. So you're talking a woman who started from her bedroom. She started initially by herself. She was the only one. Then she brought in another person, then another lady, and now she's looking at increasing her workforce to 3,000 employees in Ghana. And I know women can do that. So we should all just do our part to look out for these women. Let's support each other, and let's see if we can take ourselves to the next level. Yes, she may not be, and she may not end up as the next minister, but she will lead her local community. She will empower other women. But we must take a position that we will support each other as women. So I'm hoping once COVID is too bad, COVID is really getting in the way. We were supposed to have been in Zambia, and we were looking at Ghana as well, and Sierra Leone. With several countries that we were really looking out to go and start these women and youth empowerment programs. So as soon as we're able to travel, we have rescheduled everything starting in October. So a lot of it, we may not make it to those countries until sometime first half of next year. But we're doing our part, and everybody else must do their part. So wherever you are, whatever you can, make a commitment to pick up another woman and empower her. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't have to be financial. Sometimes it's just holding her hand and letting her know that I'm with you. Give me a call when you need to talk. Give me a call when you're running into some issues. But we must have that personal commitment as women to support each other. That's also another biggest challenge that we have. As women, we suffer from this PhD syndrome, pull her down. We're constantly pulling each other down. We don't believe in each other. So that has to change. It has to be a complete mindset to say it's about us women. And we have got to take the charge and lead our households, just like we would lead a nation. So it's again back to a personal commitment. How do you look at life as an individual, as a mother, as a woman, as an African? How do you look at life as a Black person? Because as mothers of Black children, our children are under siege. I often tell other mothers to say, living here in the United States, any one of your children could wake up and be another George Floyd. And that's just a reality. Let's not beat around the bushes. And in Africa, can we continue to be exploited like we're being exploited? That France, thank God, they finally stopped. Hopefully it has started. I don't know how soon that will be implemented. That the countries no longer need to send their bank reserves to France. But the issue of the ECHO is still no change. They just renamed the CFA to the ECO. It's still printed in France. It's still pegged to the euro. The countries still have to send all their monies for trading purposes through the French central bank. Where the French central bank charges the foreign exchange tax. So basically, they traded the colonial tax. They replaced it with the foreign exchange tax. So a lot of other things still need to be dealt with. We're not done yet, but at least if the heads of states don't have to send their bank reserves to France, that's a good beginning. And the fact that France is coming to the table, that's a good sign as well. So let's continue to talk to them now that they're coming to the table. And let's just speak truth to power to say, President Macron, what your little girls and little boys want in France, guess what? That's the same thing that little boys and little girls in Africa want. We're not asking you to do anything that you would not want done to your country. So what you have been doing is criminal. I'm glad you have taken this first step in the right direction, but now let's really go down to business and do the right thing. Africa is a humongous continent. It's big enough to take care of the world. We simply want the people, the rest of the world, to do what's right, what's fair, and what's just by the Africans. And of course, you can't expect those who set out to exploit us to make that change unless we force them. All we got to do is stand up and tell the bully that enough is enough.
Wow, thank you so much, Mama Arikana. So you heard it here. I wholeheartedly agree. The way we can help each other. Some of us can stand up and speak out and go for positions. We can't all do that, but not all help that is needed is financial. The important thing we can do is not forget our own value of our own human resource. Like Mama Arikana said, help another sister, help another mother. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's to look after the children so she can go and do something that's then going to benefit her family, your family. There's no excuse. There is something that each and every one of us can do. So, Mama Arikana, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today. I've put the website there for those of you who want to find out more about the ADDI and how you can take part in that. We thank you for always, sharing your wisdom, your encouragement, your real direct talk that we need to hear. And part of Mothers Foundation Afrika, we are here. We're trying to do our own part as well. So any way that we can support, if you need to know any more about what the foundation is doing, please do either message us on Facebook or go to the Patreon page, and let's all continue. There is no excuse. Well, we can all do.
Sorry, absolutely, no excuse. Let me just say the website is ouraddi.org. ouraddi.org. To sign up, we're looking to have 1 million people registered. There are 3 things that we want to accomplish by having that many people registered with ADDI. 1, we want to make sure that we let the heads of states know that no more excuses for giving the Chinese and the Europeans first right of refusal for the contracts coming out of their countries. The children of Africa are going to come together. The development agenda for African continent must be driven by Black people, by the Africans. Why? You don't see a Black man taking a Chinese man to China. You don't see a Black man taking a Japanese man to Japan, to Russia, to Europe, to India. So why should we Black people be taken to Africa by none other than other Black people, or take ourselves to Africa? It's unacceptable, it's laughable, it's a joke, it's disgusting, It is sad and embarrassing that we should be taken to Africa by non-Africans. So we have to come together and say, we want you to come to Africa. Yes, we would like to have foreign direct investment. However, when you go to Africa, you come behind us. So we want to join hands. We want to be prepared to come together, raise our funds, have a well-funded African Diaspora Fund where we can say the children of Africa are now organized, united. We are going to take that seat that we long vacated, the seat that has our name, and we will be on the driver's seat for the African Continental Development Agenda. It will be a shame if we cannot do that. Because if a Black man cannot be in charge in Africa, where else is a Black man going to be in charge? Africa is where we belong. Africa is where we're going to be in charge. And Africa is where we're going to take the reins and sit right there at the driver's seat and drive the Continental Development Agenda to where we can have short-term, long-term plans where we can say 20, 30 years from now, Africa is no longer a developing country, a continent. It is now a developed continent, because we will go into Africa with an agenda, with a plan, with an end not what the colonizers have done, to continue to play games with just a little development there, a little development, none of them going nowhere. Highways that go nowhere, roads that go nowhere, only serving their own interest. And all that development was brought onto the continent for their own interest, not for the benefit of the Africans. Only we, the Africans, can bring sustainable change that Africa needs. So also to make sure that we wake up, because all of us are still fast asleep. We were put asleep. I've also written a book that pretty much puts it out there, tells you how we started, the games they have been playing with us. The book is called Africa 101, The Wake Up Call. Africa 101, The Wake Up Call. Please, it's going to be in about 10 days. It's going to be available as an ebook on Amazon. So go to ouraddi.org, Africa101.org, Africa101.org. Reserve your limited edition hard copy, which is going to be signed. That one is still standing in line for
I think we
no,
do have been lost.
I think I've let's see, a call came through and it just messed me up. I keep telling this person not to call me.
Okay, Mama, we can hear you, but we can't see you. Oh, there you are. Yes. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, so in about 10 days, you can go to Amazon and look for Africa 101. It's going to be available as an ebook. And in about 4 to 5 weeks, you can order your hardcover, which is more interactive. The ebook is not interactive, but the hardcover is going to be interactive. But I urge all of you to download the ebook, read it, understand where we have been, what has been done, what continues to be done, the games that continue to be played to this day, to make sure that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. We need to wake up. So the book is for us to wake up. I can assure you, after you finish reading that book, your eyes are going to be wide open and you're getting to beat up some people and say, how can you continue to do this? Of course, when I say beat up some people, I don't mean physically. I'm saying our mouths. We are going to speak. They are going to hear from us. And you will be armed with the ammunition you need to speak truth to power. So Africa101.org, please, you must download your copy. Look for it in 10 days. It will be ready on Amazon in 10 days. So thank you again.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the good work. Continue the good work. And I want you to know that we have your back. We are with you. I know with your energy and your intelligence, along with our wisdom, we will get this done. We will change Africa. That's for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mama, again for gracing us on the platform. Another time, perhaps. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And folks, you heard the website is there. It's great to hear that the book is coming out, soon, so we can access that. And for more information about Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa, there's the website. There's the Facebook page, and there's also patreon.com. So next week, tune in next week. We'll be slightly later, but details will be following. And Mama Arikana, thank you once again. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, next week we will be back. We will be here at 7:30 next week with our guest, Candy Kisei. More details will follow. Thank you for watching live. Thank you to those of you who are joining on the replay. And keep tuning in, because this is something that we need to keep talking about, not just for talking's sake, so that some of us need more encouragement as to actually taking action. And if I can just repeat, everybody can do something, and you don't need money to do everything. You can just help a fellow mother, a fellow sister, a fellow auntie. And to you, my sons as well, you too, uplifting your mothers, supporting your women, you benefit as well. This is for all of us. It's not for empowering women for empowering their sake. Let's empower our mothers and the land to empower the whole nation, the whole continent, the whole motherland. That's what it's about. So Thank you again for your time, folks, and join me here next week for the next in the Women in Political Leadership series. And like I said, we will try and deal with your questions as many of them as we can, and we can always roll them over maybe to the next time. So I'm Angela Asante-Armar signing off. Enjoy your evening. Until next time. Bye.